Okie dokie.
Alrighty, so I think the first one to pop out was Cal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just you by yourself.
Yes, sir.
Alright, you come to wakefulness, and you are laying on the cold ground. Uh, there are shapes moving above you. As they clarify, you recognize a few beastmen. Maybe that's like a half orc or something, but they're milling about above you, and one of them is they're trying to shake you awake.
I'll swat at the hands and kind of grumble about it.
You kind of fight off the intrusion and maybe try and sink deeper into sleep, but they grab your shoulders and sort of forcefully shake you. And there's like a sudden snap pop moment where sound begins working for you again. You can hear him say, "No, you have to wake up. Get up."
Okay, I'm up. When did I
Kind of
fall asleep?
he kind of helps try and sit you up, and as you sort of rise, you recognize that you're still in the clearing where you all had fought the skeletons, where you went to sleep last night. You see the turned over tree, and as you look around, you can see the bundles of your friends still, and there are people standing over them. But what catches your attention right away is you can't move your feet. And as you look down, you see that the ice from the ground has risen to cover them and encased you up to the mid calf.
Do they look unconscious, or are they getting up?
Define they.
My friend.
You can't super see, but they all are laying down.
Okay. Um. Sorry, you said they were. I I was bound from the waist down.
Like the ice that covers the ground has, presumably over the night, crept up and covered you from the mid calf down. Your feet
Okay.
are stuck in ice.
Okay. I'll try to do the wiggle leg thing that you do when when you step into deep snow and it's kind of already fallen in on you. Try to get my legs out one at a time.
You cannot move them. You have
Oh,
no mobility beneath the calf.
oh, wonderful. Okay. Um,
Seeing you more awake, the half orc standing above you sort of tries to like ease you with one hand on your shoulder and say, uh, "Don't try and force it. Hold on." And you see him take his other hand. He has this big fuck off like a hammer. He just rears back and slams down onto your feet, and it doesn't break the crystal.
goodness. Okay.
Even as you're talking to him, he just is continually blow after blow, like trying to rain down on the crystal. And the first five don't do anything. After like the sixth and seventh, you start to see cracks forming on it.
Can I take out like one of my daggers and hit it with the butt, not the sharp end, but the butt end?
Yeah, sure. Make a strength check.
Specifically, not the sharp end. I'm not that stupid.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to see how much force you have. 17. So, and he's gonna tell his buddies later that he loosened it up for you, but you kind of get your dagger pommel right there, and you just jam it in as hard as you can, and you hear the crack as you free one of your legs. And with his help, you're able to, within another few blows, disentangle yourself from the grasp of the ice.
But I still can't feel my leggings. They're still
They're,
cold.
they're pretty numb, but
Okay.
you're not like dead completely. You're not paralyzed.
Okay, now that I'm free a little bit, I feel like he's probably not as panicky as he was having woken up, not being able to move, and he'll ask him, that's the orc, half orc, like, are they okay? How long have we been down here?
He kind of runs a palm over his smooth bald head and kind of like flecks some rapidly cooling sweat off of it. And he'll just say, "We just found y'all this morning. They're trying to help the others, but they're all worse off than you are.
Why?
You fell asleep in the bleeding whitewood. What did you expect to happen?"
But none of us did. We were walking here. None of us were asleep. I don't remember ever stopping.
He'll just kind of like sigh and shake his head and try and help you stand up. And as you get out, you can see, or as you stand up, you can see there's probably like a good 7, 8 people here. Like I said, of different creeds and backgrounds, but they're all of them are trying to help your friends. You can see they're all similarly encased. Some partially. The worst one by far is Mitty, who has nearly been sarcophagized, like put in an ice um, coffin of sorts, and you can see very dark-skinned elf and a big burly catfolk man that are just trying to like break the glass apart with picks to free him.
So, he would be, quite the polar bear.
Is this another anti-Blizzard joke?
Not intentionally, but sure.
Get the spare coat.
He'll, he'll go and try to help them out as much as he's able to with his little daggers.
Okay. After sort of at this point, the next two, which were Mish and Melanie, you two would be finally shaken to wakefulness as you find yourselves in very similar situations, and these helpful Samaritans are finally able to get you all to wake up.
I think Melanie have like a similar reaction to how Cal went and just be like, "Who's on me? Get off!"
You'll see helping you would be a look like a mostly human female, but you can see the folded avian-like wings behind her back. She just kind of like recoils from you and hands up and says, "We're just trying to get you out of there. Please don't struggle."
Get me out of. And then she'll look down and how much of her is covered up?
For you, I would say your left arm is like encased in the ice.
Oh, this is a little problematic.
Just don't panic, and we'll try and get you out in a jiff.
Uh,
And
I don't know how effective this can work, but she'll try and cast Prestidigitation, and I can chill, warm, or flavor up to 1 cubic of non-living material for an hour. Can I try and warm up the ice?
Yeah, I'll say you can try. What material, like components, does that spell take?
Verbal and somatic.
Okay. Make an Arcana check. Oh, pretty good. So even working under adverse conditions here, you try and use your magic to help them, and you're not really so much able to like flash melt the ice, but you do your best to weaken it internally so that over a series of a few minutes, their blows are more effective and they're able to free you.
Yeah.
And Mish, you are also awoken at this point.
Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Like, is she forcefully awakened, or, like...
Yeah, so you were lying there asleep when the people above you, which for you there's like a minotaur like guy who just kind of like is trying to non-brutally like slap you awake, and finally you kind of like come to.
I don't want to get up. Tired.
I want to make a roll just for fun and flavor. Mish was encased pretty similarly to Cal, actually, but this Minotaur, upon seeing you wake up, will just kind of put uh, one of his hands under like your the crook of your knee, and the other one around like your mid back, and he just kind of like hefts, and you see him like he doesn't get anywhere. You're not moving, and you can see the cords on his muscles bulging for a second. And then after a quick like heavy pause, he just like bodily lifts you and cracks the ice around you. Because he rolled a monster athletics.
Okay, I'm up. Does Mish still have her hat on?
It would be how you went to bed that night.
Okay, so then yeah.
So the three of you are awake and able to see these people moving about. Venali is about from the waist down in the ice, and as I mentioned, now the three of you are up. Most of these people are around the icy tomb that seems to contain Middendorfy.
Huh. I can help melt him out, I think.
The really dark-skinned elf that is sort of leading Middy's the efforts for Middy kind of looks back at you a little bit in kind of disgust, and will just say, "Whatever you have to make yourselves useful, do it. Their very lives could depend on it."
Okay. Then... Mish will actually pull out, like, her ceremonial dagger and just, run it across her palm just to, just to, enact her rite of the flame. And with Charity, like she'll just like take a stab at the ice, that in a sense that where it doesn't, where she won't end up targeting Midi at all. Like it's just there to melt.
All right, make an attack roll. Okay, and with that, make just a straight charisma check. Not a save, like just a
Oh,
check.
fuck me.
You do your best to enact this spiritual power that you've been given. You encase your blade with flame. You make a resounding strike that everyone working kind of has to like stop for just a second and look over to see what's going on. As the moment the Magitech weapon, the very fine point of it hits the ice, it makes this like clear bell ringing sound throughout the forest. It's a very pretty note, but you kind of hold it there, expecting there eventually to be give or breakage or something in the ice, but uh, after a moment it becomes clear that you didn't make a dent in this.
Huh. Normally ice melts at this point. Hmm. Can she try again?
Wait, you can say that you're trying to aid with aid in freeing him with that effect, but
Oh. Okay. Hmm. This is weird. What kind? What is this? Never melting ice or something?
the no one really seems to be giving you much of time of the day, but the elf that is taking a pick to like Midi's like chest area will just say kind of under his breath, yeah, or something. And what are the other two of you doing?
I think Melly will do the same thing too around Midi just to try and like help loosen the ice to break it up faster.
Yeah, I don't have any magic or anything fancy to help with, so I might just be picking away at it with my with the blunt end of my dagger to try to help get them free.
And so the three of you are trying to help Midi break out.
Finale's just gonna die of loneliness.
I'll go help Benali.
Okay, make me just do another strength check for me.
The
The
cold has numbed my fingers.
poor Midi and Benali, the efforts of your friends aren't amounting to much. The difference between when Mish and Melanie woke up to when you woke up, Cal, was a few minutes. The time stretches on, and you see these people, and with your help, trying to wake and free your other companions for another solid 15 to 20 minutes, not with no real change. You actually see members of this team sort of starting to like form a rotation where they'll put as much energy into it as they can before they tire out, and then trade off, their spot and tools to another member of their party. But after another, say like 20 minutes to 30 minutes pass, eventually, although you are still very much encased from the waist down, Vinali, you will start to just naturally come to.
Oh, what in blazes is going on?
Cal will kind of explain to him what the half-orc had kind of told me, that apparently we had fallen asleep out there, even though I don't much believe it, and we woke up half frozen.
At the mention of half frozen, Vinali will eventually come to the realization that the entire lower half of his body is encased in ice. This is hardly useful. I'm gonna go ahead and, for lack of any other options, try and firebolt myself out of this.
Alrighty. Make a strength charisma or straight charisma check. Okay, with Cal's help and persistence, you guys are able to slowly break apart the. I mean, it's ice, but it's behaving like diamond in a way. Like it doesn't crack except with immense force over long periods of time. But you're able to sort of chip him out over time, over a process. Just to be clear, what you guys find yourselves in is, well, I can bring it back up. Disregarding the skeletons, you guys are here, where you had made your camp that night, as if you had not woken up and fought the skeletons or seen the spirits or anything.
Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but where did all of you come from?
You're talking to some of the people around?
Yeah.
The Minotaur will sort of just do the bull-like snort and say, well, this is our patrol path. We didn't expect to find escapees out here. You all are mighty foolish.
Escapee a what now?
I understand that you were looking for freedom, my friend, but to walk brazenly into the Whitewood was not smart.
But what do you mean freedom? We were told to come here.
Well, I believe that our leader will have plenty of questions for you to sort out exactly what you were doing down here later, if we can save that one's life over there.
Well, if brute force is the only way to try to get through this ice, perhaps I can help with that as well. I'll cast Spiritual Weapon to just start hacking away at it.
Alrighty. MIDI.
Yeah.
You are no longer at the foot of the tree at the heart of this forest, but neither are you in your body and awake. You're somewhere in between, and it could have been minutes, or it could have been years But you spend all of that time reveling in this feeling of cold, but this feeling of purity and freedom and youth around a world that you recognize as the one you still live in now, but so much younger than it is. And you're trapped in that space, seemingly feeling feelings and recalling memories not of your own. For as I said, it could be eons. It's hard to give time to it.
Am I alone?
You are alone, except for when the memories, when you're reliving her experiences with someone else.
Okay.
But just setting the tone there, that is what Mitty is experiencing for an indeterminate amount of time before, at some point, seemingly without cause or reason, that the flow of that experience stops and the flow of that experience just stops. After some time, the group succeeds with everyone's help involved in at least freeing Middy's face and upper torso and stuff like that. And you can see that he's breathing, now that you've gotten him out, and that is reassuring. At this point, Cal, you are fine, but you suffer one level of exhaustion. You did not, to be clear, you are all waking up right now. The fight with the skeletons did not actually happen. Any damage that you took, disregard that. You wake up right now, fully healed and with all your spell slots and stuff, except for the spiritual weapon you just used, Finale.
Yeah.
But Cal, you have one level of exhaustion. Mish and Melanie, you are drained one. Make sure you write down somewhere so you can remember it. Like, don't permanently change your stuff here. But for the time being, reduce your maximum hit points by one level. You should have hit points as if you were level 2. Finale, you have your first level hit points only. You were drained 2.
Gotcha.
Mitty, you have no hit points.
Oh, so he's just dead.
He is not dead, but he has no hit points.
He is a god.
He has some little squish. If you stumble, you're gonna fucking rip.
Yeah, I'm just gonna shatter.
You stub your toe and you're down for life.
Just gonna set my HP to 0.
Like I said, please do remember if you didn't take the average hit points. Like, I hope you wrote down like what your HP was or whatever, so you can figure it out. But at some point, like I said, they will have freed Mitty as much as they can, and your benefactors are like exhausted at this point. They just kind of are looking around at you all, and the elf from before will step forward and say, well, none of you are gone for now, so for that I suppose we have succeeded.
You seem to know at least something of this place. Where are we?
Well, I would hope so. It's our job. This is the Whitewood. If you didn't know that, then you must have been down in one of the under dungeons for a very long time.
We came from the surface.
Oh, he'll kind of look at you askance and say, please, you are among friends here. You need not lie. There are many escapees of the Archai in our forces. There will be no judgment.
What? Wait. You think we're Arakai?
No, I would assume you and he'll point to like the Minotaur and several other members here, like many of us, escaped their imprisonment. Is that not the case?
No, in fact, we came down here chasing Arakai and demons.
Surface dwellers. Truly? You have all come down here of your own free will?
Well, more like we were on a mission, but yeah.
You see grumbling sort of circle between all of them as they kind of talk to each other, and the elf just kind of like holds his chin and scratches at it, and will say, it has been a very long time since we have seen any surface dwellers. You are very unlucky to have wandered into the Whitewood without knowing what it is you were stumbling into.
Believe you me, it kind of feels that way. But still, thank you for helping us.
Do
They're
we
just-
remember the dream we had?
Yes, you remember all of it, and you remember, or sort of like your brain undoes the rationalizations that it did, if that makes sense.
Okay. I remember being drawn towards the Winter Seed and passing several barriers, but past a certain point, there was nothing, and I woke up here.
That would have been us, yes, and you should be grateful for it. Had you followed that vision to its end, then, well, you would be like your Zoan friend here.
What is the Winter Seed? How did it do this?
It is a long story and not one meant for telling beneath these boughs. You are still in danger. We should get you out of here, and it will be difficult to transfer the Urso, but perhaps with your help we can. He's so big.
I mean, yeah.
Large bearsicle.
With some effort, they are able to make something of like a sled almost ish. At least they can sort of drag him through the snow with a rope that they have.
I had the image in my head of just rolling him on his side the entire trip, but that's probably not healthy.
Use him as the sled. Down the hill riding the frozen midi.
Insert Mario sled athletic theme here.
But you guys, they lead you, assuming you all will follow, in a direction that you don't think it's where you came from, although you do conspicuously see that there is no trail or footprints or anything from you guys coming here the night before. That part of your dream seems to be true. The grass has seemingly like healed and become pristine again.
What? I'm so confused.
But are you guys following these individuals out?
As sorely tempted as Vinali is to try to follow the path that he saw in his dream again, he's gonna follow everybody else.
Well, what is everyone else doing?
Mish will just follow the. What are they? Are they like mercenaries? Are they just a scouting troop?
They haven't identified themselves yet, but they seem to be an eclectic mix of beastmen, half beasts, and like an elf and a couple of humans.
Hmm. So I guess Mish will just walk next to them and like, so out of curiosity, who are you guys? I mean, like, don't get us wrong. We're grateful that you said that you helped us out, but who are you?
We would be the free denizens of the secret cities down here. Uh, Technically, we belong to the builders.
Would Mish know who the builders were?
Make a history check, but this is a very high DC.
Oh, don't worry, I'll roll a 0.
That doesn't ring any bells.
Mish just blanks. Eh. Like she just blinks and it's in one ear and out the other. She doesn't know who they are.
Just for the shits and giggles of it, can I make a check as well?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it doesn't ring many bells to you either. But the elf leading the squadron, who, getting a better look at them, as I said, their skin is dark, and not in the D&D drow sense of like purpley dark, right? I meant like ebony. Their hair, including like their eyelashes and eyebrows, is all platinum stark white. Even their body hair, what little bit of it is bleached of color. But they will look back and say, "Forgive them. They are not used to, or none of us are really, with speaking with outsiders, totally unfamiliar with our culture. This is our charge. We, the builders, have built the walls that you have transgressed upon to keep the Whitewood contained."
The way you described it, I assume we're not the first who've had such dreams.
That is the, it is the Seed's preferred hunting method. All who enter and stay too long will find themselves before overlong being drawn towards its center.
Has anyone traveled there while awake?
Certainly, if they wanted to die.
So I take it anyone who's attempted has never come back?
No, they've come back. I take it if you had a usual experience that you were given some sign of the horrors that hide within the wood.
We were attacked by undead. Or we thought we were attacked by undead, at least.
Well, I assure you, those are very much real, and they are very much more disposed at dismembering you than they are in the sleeping world.
Well, as loath as I am to the idea of encountering more undead, we do, as our friend Mish here has mentioned, have a mission to complete down here as well once we've rested and recovered.
Yes, I am quite curious at what fool's errand would bring surface dwellers down into the Arakai's domain, but, well, I understand if you don't wish to be forthcoming.
Well, on the contrary, you're the people who are apparently most well versed in this territory, which, frankly, I didn't even realize was occupied by sentient beings.
You'll see them kind of come up short a little bit as they had been walking ahead of you, but this elf will sort of fall back to be more in line with your group, and he'll say, I'm sorry, what did you mean by that?
As far as we knew, the Arakai and the demons were the only creatures to be found down here.
And you do not consider the Arakai sentient?
Not in the sense that they can consider tactics, yes, but they don't seem to have a civilization that we're aware of.
Ah, well, I see.
You mean to tell me they do?
He makes a sound, a string of them, 5 syllables that are guttural and clicky, and it's bizarre. He is able to make a noise that is very akin to mandibles snapping together without those body parts. He will say, in their language, that is how they refer to this region. Uh, rendered in the common tongue, Ajerasai, the secret cities.
Huh. Well,
The emphasis there, my friend, is on cities. There are many Arakai dwellings beneath the land here.
And I assume you must at least be aware that the Arakai have a new foe.
I take it from your earlier statement you mean the demons?
Yes, and they are who we have actually been sent down here to deal with.
In hindsight, that does not surprise me. They have become a problem as of late.
As even on the surface, they are becoming more and more of a nuisance.
Well, demons are not altogether uncommon down here, as we are physically closer to Pandemonium than you are on the surface, but, well, normally the Arakai would take care of it.
wait, take care of it? What is it?
Well, any rifts that opened, their drones and guardians would have closed it within minutes of it opening had they found it.
Like, Mish will then like have the look of, you know that meme where that says suddenly jazz music stops?
Yeah,
Like, wait, they close the portals?
yes, it does not benefit their society to have demons running around and feasting on their souls.
But, like, huh. And Mish now has like that 1,000-yard stare where she's trying to calculate everything.
It's not completely out of the question. They are known to have powerful spells in battle. It stands to reason they could, if they do have a society down here, have a development of other less damage focused spells.
I think, perhaps, forgive me, he's not here to defend himself, but your Urso friend may have been steering you slightly astray in regards to what the Arakai are capable of. I take it from your descriptions, you, on the surface, are mostly used to dealing with drones, the, less intelligent, more militant, lowest level members of their society.
That sounds about right.
I assure you, the viziers and even higher echelons of their species are just as intelligent and, in many ways, more magically capable than many of our own.
And yet they haven't been able to contend with this latest incursion of the demons?
Well, see, that there is the difficulty. They would be able to, had it not opened up right underneath them.
Manali is just like trying to wrap his head around all of this.
Oh, Mish is already long gone. Like, she's reconciling the fact that the Arakai are not demons in and of themselves, because that's what the assumption she, based on what she was given, that was her assumption. And to hear that now they're completely different and not one and the same, like, it's giving her a headache as she's trying to process it all.
How did you come to that conclusion in the first place?
Well, she assumed just based on the name and their encounter that they were some sort of demon. Like a type of insectoid demon. But for her realizing that they're not, huh.
You reach a point after this conversation where you begin to reach seemingly the end of the forest, or at least an edge of it. And it's very clear to you all that are cognizant, you did not walk out the way you all came in. You took a much shorter and more direct exit to seemingly one of, you'd guess, probably many different tunnels that enter into this big open space. But as you sort of break the tree line and get back into the tunnel system, you see a few more like humanoid people standing guard around half dozen pack of very curious animals. They look like ferrets with bigger legs, but they are the size of ponies.
Noodle snakes with leggies.
They have their leggy noodle snakes that a person could ride. But they are all saddled with bags and supplies strapped to them, and your elven companion will walk up to one of them after sort of giving a quick explanation to the rest of the crew why they've brought back 5 new people, one of which is an ice cube. And he'll reach into one of the pouches and bring out a rolled up piece of parchment. Take it to your group and open up, and you see. He could tell you that this is a diagram of like the inside of a beehive, and it would make about as much sense to you. It's a series of geometric tunnels and larger open spaces that crisscross the map in just a complex labyrinth. But he'll point to a couple of the larger spaces, and you'll see runes scrawled on them. He'll say, pointing here, Ajamishi, the city of cycles. Taraji, city of blood. We're closest to here, Fashaji, city of healing. And over here, I'll point far to the right. This used to be Ashkalexi, the city of curses. Now it is a rift, opened up beneath the city to swallow the whole damn thing.
How is all this hidden down here?
It's very large.
I feel as though perhaps, and maybe I'm just making light of a bad situation because my brain is still trying to cope, but I feel as though perhaps naming your city the City of Curses, it's only fitting that it should be swallowed up by a portal into pandemonium.
I do not pretend to know more than I should about the arts they study there, but my understanding has always been that. How do I say this? My understanding has always been that Ashkalexi was more concerned with what it did to others than what happened to it. Perhaps its bad fortune caught up with it finally.
Unfortunately, its bad fortune is caught up with the rest of the world as well, it seems.
Well, it has been very difficult for the Arakai to respond to this issue. As you can well imagine, the very moment the portal opened up, it was glutted with the souls of thousands. It instantaneously grew to a problem bigger than they could manage.
I don't imagine it would be very easy filtering in the armies of the surface down here.
Easy? No. And not that the Arakai would even let you.
It sounds as though they have little choice if they can't get their own hand on it.
Well, if you want, after we've gotten you all back to base and seen you taken care of, you are free to go march into their halls and tell them such, and I will wait to hear back from you.
You may have a point. Meantime, Vinali is also just like furiously scribbling in a notebook drawings of these weird creatures and also a rough approximation of that honeycomb map.
Alrighty. The ferret-like creatures, as it turns out, are very curious about all of you, and definitely several very wet snoots come over and kind of snoof at you.
Mish will actually like crouch down and just like attempt to pet one.
Make an animal handling check.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You reach out and begin to pet the floof, and it kind of like nuzzles at your palm for a minute before it sort of darts forward very quickly and becomes a noodle, and it just like sort of wraps around you and just like it doesn't purr, but it is like a fluffy blanket that just sort of like curls around you and just sort of hugs you.
Huh. Okay. And she just like pats its head. Is this normal? Like she turns to like one of the guys who walked in with them.
Yeah, the half orc will sort of chuckle a bit to himself and say, "Yeah, they're a friendly lot to them. Tunnel Striders are their proper names, but I just call them the floofs."
Huh. And she's just subconsciously petting this one. Okay. Well, they're friendly at least, and that's fine. This is fine.
The elf kind of stands up and talks to other members of his group, and you'll probably be able to overhear him say, he'll give instructions for 3 of the group to take some tunnel striders back to the base and sort of pre-warn people that they're all coming, since now they have more people than they could feasibly take back. So you will see 2 people hop on one of the ferrets, and the third gets a spare. And they begin taking off down the tunnel ahead of you. And you'll see very quickly, perhaps a bit, why this particular breed of animal is so useful as a steed. As it begins to take off down the way, you see them all kind of bristle, their fur poof up, and then, like a spell being cast on them, their fur turns dark as shadow, and even the people riding on them become obscured with black darkness as they just sort of melt into the shadow of the tunnel ahead.
Huh.
Venali still scribbling furiously now, drawing that playing out.
The elf comes back and says, well, we'll have to have at least 2 of the mounts used to help carry the Urso back. The rest of us are going to be walking.
That is fine.
He'll nod at you all and take you through, leading this caravan of people in the defrosting Middendorfi deeper into the tunnels.
Do we just put Mitty on a little sled and drag him behind us?
Mm-hmm.
I must floof, but I am too cold.
While you are all traveling, could you roll a d20, Mitty? You are still in darkness, trapped in between.
Oh no.
You're not here and you're not there. You're just sort of floating in nothing. But you feel a reassuring presence that sort of blurs your recent memories, and the figure that you were and that you had been, that had been frolicking with her people, sort of mixes and becomes one with, and hard to separate from slightly older memories you have of the mother that reached out to you. But after this dizzying moment of overlap with 2 projector slides, being played at once, you settle back into Mitty. You settle back into the voice in your head being Mother's, and you feel grounded again, although still not able to make contact with the waking world.
I sleep.
You all are eventually led down a series of tunnels, a series of interchanges and things like that, before you eventually enter another smaller but still sizable open cavern. it is sloped up, relatively speaking, towards the back wall from the way you entered it. But you see that there are a number of tunnels that enter into this area. They're all around you. They're all sort of in the front half circle of this open space. Following the slope up, the gentle gray sand as it sort of crests up on the hill, you see a tower built into and up against the rock wall of the far side of the cavern. You see the gentle Stonehenge-like walls around it, and you can tell probably almost immediately from the coloration and the architectural style that it is the same builder as the walls in the forest that you have recently seen.
Well, this architecture seems familiar.
The head of the procession will sort of nod and say, "This is a home sweet home. You've made it to the Bastille Rock."
Am I to understand then that it was you lot that built the seals?
It was our organization, yes, not us specifically. They've been there a lot longer than that.
Who was it that had the stonework? Somebody held on to it. I don't remember who.
I thought it was Finale, but was it not?
It
Um,
might have been me. It was either me or Mitty.
I gave it to you last I
Okay.
remember.
Yes, I would fish that out of my backpack and say, I imagine you're probably already aware, but the third seal seems to have fallen.
Yes, I am aware. It's because of the fact that the forest has grown as large as it has. When it was still in its prime, the frost did not proceed past the barrier. He kind of straightens the pack he's holding and will just sort of looking straight ahead at the tower above you and not really making eye contact with you. He'll say, "Fortunately, we no longer have the capability to build more seals. That has been lost for generations."
Well, just kind of not fully understanding the implications, but like piecing together potentially. Just kind of nods solemnly and says, "The loss of knowledge is a tragic thing."
Well, we will see that the rest of you are given a good warm meal and a fire to warm your bones by, and worry not, we will take the Urso to our healers and see if they can do aught for him.
I believe we'd be much obliged.
Around that time, you guys are brought up to sort of this rock edifice, and you see even before you get to the proper walls, there's just some sort of stone watchtowers, not the right word, but just a few feet off the ground, like a sort of archer's roost, if that makes sense. like a scout tower or something, sort of constructed around it, and a few scattered fireplaces and collections of supplies. And uh, you see that the group with the tunnel striders go around to the side where there is a pen, like a stables area, where there's several more tunnel striders inside that are rejoined together. They sort of like all meet and touch noses together before scooping up bits of hay and chewing on it.
So does Mish still have the one on her, or did it like scutter away?
Well, these things are the size of ponies, so no, you do not still have them on you, or else you wouldn't be able to move. But you enter, you see, as you walk through, you'll pass through chattering crowds of dozens of people, and once again, a fairly eclectic mix of folk. You do see the majority would be either beastkin, orcs, or their associated half breeds. That's the majority. There are some humans, a few, but very, very few, and you might only see one other elf of the same darker complexion as the one that you have been traveling with. But you guys are led through interested, chattering crowds to a common room type area. You are presented with food and drink as they promised, and Mitty is escorted away from you.
Can I follow them where they take Mitty to be sure he's not abducted or anything?
Yeah, you follow. It's just a couple of half orcs and the elf that uh, sort of keep dragging Mitty further into. Um, once you get to the proper tower, you see it actually like goes into the wall, and they sort of drag him like in through different tunnels and things like that, shorter, more compact than the ones you've been used to traveling through. They'll put him in what looks like a sick room, like infirmary with a bunch of beds, and the half orcs will help heft him up onto like the ice cube onto one of the beds.
Okie dokie. I'll try not to stay in their way, but I'll watch what they're working while they're working on him.
The elf will come over to you and sort of extend a palm out, like shake your hand, and he'll say, "It is good of you to be concerned about your friend."
Well, with the state he's in, I think somebody ought to be.
Well, I assure you, we mean you nor him any harm, but it really would be best if you entrusted him to us and rejoined your companions.
Does he seem like he's being earnest?
Make an insight check. He's a little difficult to read, but all indications that he's giving you are warm and friendly, if a little close to the vest. He's not exactly uh, he's not overly forthcoming, but he's not giving you any like negative indications.
Okay. With the lack of heebie-jeebies, then I think Cat will take his leave, but he'll let him know, like, come get us if anything changes.
sorry, Sonny.
You need me to get him?
No, he just needed attention. Yeah, you all rejoin your friends and you have a nice warming meal, and you guys are treated to a number of these curious people coming to talk to you and trying to find out, what happened, what's the story with y'all, what city did you escape from, how did you escape, wanting to hear your adventure tale.
At some point, Vinali would just like have a look of like dawning realization, and a smile creeps on his face as he says to everyone else, "You do realize this is almost exactly how we first met? 4 of us eating and drinking at a tavern, while 1 of us was dragged off somewhere else."
Yeah, funny that.
I guess.
Right down to the interest of the townsfolk as well. People wanting to know who had slain the demon.
With those somewhat nostalgic thoughts, given how far away you are from Scorn and that first meeting. Midi.
Ye-
You blink blearily awake in that hospital sort of infirmary bed. The room, like just this hallway, well, not hallway, but like it's just one long empty room with just several beds in a row. There's nothing in it. It is dark. You are laying there thawed. Make a perception check for me. The room is totally dark. You don't sense anyone but yourself in it. But you hear through the corner of your sort of peripheral senses a triggering sound that awakens fight or flight instincts in you. It's the sound of like Arakai legs scuttling, those slightly blade-like stabbing sounds as they impact hard earth or rock. But it's heavier, it's slower, lower BPM. It's just something large, but an archive nature exits the room. And you hear the door click back into place as it leaves you alone.
Mitty is just going to try and regain his full senses as he currently feels the super grogs.
And you do. You are still drained 3. You have 1 maximum hit point.
Oh lord.
But you're a barbarian, so when you read, you take half damage.
Oh, I have become wet paper. Oh, not good, not good, very not good.
But time passes. You are very tired, Midi, and despite maybe intentions otherwise, it is hard for you to resist sleeping that night. And eventually, your companions are shown to some guest quarters they can stay in, and it's probably not until although it's hard to tell like time specifically, not until something more like midday the next day that you all are allowed to join Mitty in the infirmary, who's a bit more like himself today.
Well, good to see you alive.
I am breathing, so I guess I am alive. Even though this constant pain is telling me otherwise.
Well, frostbite will do that to you.
What happened?
So, I don't really know myself, but apparently we were sleeping in, a snowy cavern or something, and we were nearly popsicles for a bit.
The short version is the Winter Seed was trying to kill us.
Mitty
Or at the
will,
very least, whatever it was trying to do was killing us.
I didn't get the feeling he was trying to kill us, but, well, the results say otherwise.
I do agree that I didn't really get the sense of malicious intent, although you were in there for longer than the rest of us, but as you say, we were all frozen over when we came to, and you the worst of all.
I saw the seed. I talked to it. I touched
Wait, what?
it.
You talked to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that the Dark Elf has entered the room with y'all and sort of escorted you all to Mitty. And you see, he had been trying to give you privacy, the rest of your group, but at that mention, his attention is fully on you, Mitty, as he sort of comes to stand around your bed as well, and he says, "Did you really know?"
Yeah. It's not exactly the most talkative of beings, but whatever happened after, I don't know. I could see through it. I don't really know how to explain.
And what exactly is it that you saw?
Well, when I reached the center to the final barrier and crossed it, it was a giant crystal with the largest soul that I've ever seen residing inside of it. Just resided in that crystal.
Yes, that I am aware of, but you said you spoke to it. What did you see?
Memories, not my own.
Spooky.
It seems lonely.
Well, she would be. It's been 2,000 years.
Wait,
Soul has survived for 2,000 years?
and it still has a sense of consciousness?
It's not a normal soul.
It's rather difficult to kill divinity, even in our world.
Well, that explains it then.
Winterseed is a god. Somehow that's not quite surprising.
Well, is strong. It was once in an age long ago, and I don't know that I would call it one anymore.
Well, whatever it is now, it's lonely. feels betrayed, and it hurts.
And it's growing.
Yes, this is the first I have heard of its recent emotional state, and although you put yourself in terrible danger and unknowingly to obtain it, if it is any comfort, my fine Urso, we appreciate this insight into it. It's what it is feeling now, but what we know about it is that it is growing and it is hungry, and what it craves most of all is heat, and that is why you all are very lucky to have not been consumed by it.
Yeah, it seemed to. I don't know, it seemed happy when I got close to it.
Well, you are a rather large individual, and to have survived the encounter, as like as not that your spirit is a strong one, I don't doubt that you would have provided much heat for it.
If it's cold enough to have frozen over all that landscape, it stands to reason you'd need something of a volcano to properly warm it.
The memories made it seem like there was another.
Um, Make an insight check, Drew.
There is another Skywalker.
And 2 11s in a row. Thanks, Roll20.
He's a little difficult to read, but you do see some of the abject interest he had in hearing about this new information to his charge. But you see him once again sort of cage up a little bit as he says, "But another, really now, what gave you that concept?"
I don't know exactly. It's just these feelings, I guess.
Well, you had quite an ordeal, my friend. Very rare to experience divinity of that sort and live to tell the tale, so consider yourself to have spent your entire life's worth of luck this evening.
I seem to do that quite often, then.
Well, while we are on the topic of getting to the bottom of things, I believe you all said that you were here for some demon slaying.
That, and we're looking for someone.
Another surface dweller.
Uh-huh.
Not that we
Right.
expect to find her alive, unfortunately, but
Looking for a grove tender that made her way down here.
He looks kind of thoughtful for a minute, and he'll say, under normal circumstances, I would have told you that there is no means by which a surface dweller could enter Ajerasai and roam about without being captured or killed by its masters, but these are not normal times, and somehow, some way, you all came to be in the Whitewood before being dealt with by them.
Wasn't exactly the most heavily guarded.
well, we did run for several miles.
Sure.
Yes, perhaps the Arkai are distracted with their rift, and I do not mean to give you false hope where there is none warranted, but if you survived this long, there is a chance your charge did as well, but if so, I could not tell you where to begin looking.
I suppose the more pressing concern is that we were tasked with closing the portal, and I feel as though if it's large enough to have swallowed a city, it's a bit beyond our means.
Yes, I have. Oh, go ahead.
That's even if this is the Great Portal.
Well, I have only heard of the One Rift, and it is something of a conversation dominator at the moment, given its severity, but I don't know, perhaps there are more.
Well, if waves of this magnitude can be found under here, then perhaps there are similar networks underneath other parts of the continent.
Oh, for that I could tell you quite certainly that it is true. How else do you think the dwarves have been waging their war for millennia?
It's a frightening thought to imagine that city-sized portals could be popping up all over the continent with no one the wiser. Well, no one on the surface, anyway.
If it reassures you at all, the Arakai would do their level best to prevent any such tragedy from occurring, as it would affect their work, and I have every reason to believe that they are trying even now to close this one, whatever they can do to make that happen.
So where does that leave us?
Well, it was something of a joke I said to your companion last night, but I will offer it now, perhaps in all seriousness. Do you wish to walk into the middle of their city and ask them for help?
Well,
It's kind of a heavy question.
We rescued you of our own volition because it behooves us to deny the winter seed of more warmth. But now that makes us responsible for you. So, if you would rather us deposit you back at the surface, or at least where you came down here, we will do so. But if you would rather us guide you towards another destination, we are amenable.
well, it seems to me that we've got quite a few issues that need to be taken care of down here.
Yes, either finding the Grove Tender alive or her remains to confirm. And
Hello? Hey, Bryn? guys give us 1 minute. I think our internet is breaking.
Are we live?
Hi.
Yeah,
Hello.
I heard you that time.
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry. I last heard Azur speaking. I didn't catch all of it.
What was it I had said? That we needed to find the Grove Tender or her remains. And if we're going to see the portal, we need to deal with the archive one way or the other. And then Mitty said about dealing with the Winter Seed, and I replied that it's very curious, but it's not our most pressing concern.
Well, the Dark Elf would have responded to Mitty and said, what exactly do you have in mind for dealing with it?
I'm not sure yet. Do you have any, you seem to have some historical connection, or you seem to have some idea of what went on here in the past. Do you maybe have any records or anything we could go through?
We do have some records, yes. If it would assuage your curiosity for the moment, suffice it to say that it has been our charge for millennia to make sure that the Winter Seed does not consume all life within this region, if not beyond, in the search of, or does not consume all life in this region or beyond for the purpose of reviving itself.
Charged by who exactly?
He kinda holds your gaze for a bit and says, it is an old story, and one you need not concern yourself with, Zoan.
Maybe. Or maybe it's the key to solving all this.
You said yourself he's the first to have made it that far.
He is, and had he not be himself, there might be more he could do, but he is of a most unfortunate persuasion.
What
But he
does that
won't.
mean?
What I mean is that you are the least likely people to be able to help in this matter, Zoan.
Why is that?
You looked upon it, did you not?
I did.
Did not the tree remind you of aught?
It was a grove.
Not just a grove, the grove.
Wait, are you... What are you trying to tell me here?
You said there was another, Mitty. I need not help. do I need to spell out all the pieces for you?
I'm getting the sense what he's trying to say is that the Zoans put her there.
So we were the ones who abandoned her when the other seasons came?
Sorry, say that again?
So we were the ones who abandoned her when the other seasons came?
Now we are dealing with ancient history, and this is where, unfortunately, our records are incomplete. But no, I do not think so. I think you are the other seasons, Mitty.
What?
Her people were older. They were here first, and they were cast down and away by your people.
Were her people the Arakai?
The elf will look at you and sort of tap its nose.
Isn't it ironic?
That is mind-blowing.
It's kind of... Huh. Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but it's like... There's something missing from the picture, though. I don't know why.
Well, worry you not. The only reason I am going this far with you all and speaking so plainly is because of what you have seen. And I know that your curiosity will not be sated by half-assed answers.
Well, you're right about that.
But I assure you, if there was a more permanent solution within our immediate power, then, well, we would not have been down here for 2 millennia.
You're probably right.
On the bright side, perhaps insight into the current state of their long-dead deity would be a useful bargaining chip for us when we try to, I guess, negotiate for their assistance.
You have my you have my wish for your luck if you pursue that course of action. In all of my life, I have not been led to believe they are overmuch fond of her these days.
Well, that is the thing about deities. If they haven't done anything for you in a while, you kind of lose faith.
More commonly, those that worship tend to overlook certain gifts they receive and take them for granted.
Well, I understand that you are weary and it will take you some time to recover from your ordeals, but think on it. When we escort you out of Bastille Rock, we will lead you in whatever direction you wish to travel. But after that point, you are on your own once again.
Well, seems as good as any offer.
we'll just have to take a little time and think on it together.
I don't think any of us are in any condition to go spill.
Hello? Good old Discord.
You're doing.
Oh, there we go.
Hello?
Hi. Hello.
Sorry.
Wi-Fi's on?
I guess I don't know why the internet's shitting itself, but last thing I said that the elf leaves you guys to your devices and says to call them if you need them. We'll cut it there just because my internet's down and pick up if you guys want to talk in character. We'll start there next week.
Okay.
Okay.